It was supposed to be an ordinary flight, just a teenage girl traveling quietly, trying to stay comfortable in the freezing cabin. But the moment she asked for something as simple as a blanket, everything changed. Instead of kindness, she was met with disdain, humiliation, and an unshakable reminder that to some, the color of her skin defined her worth. Passengers watched in uneasy silence, their hearts sinking deeper with every cold breath. What she didn't know was that one phone call would bring the entire plane to a standstill. Watch until the end. Wait a second. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories like this. Imani's journey had already been emotional. Her father, a decorated Air Force pilot, had surprised her with the ticket as a gift after months of deployment. "You deserve to see the world the way others do," he told her. Imani had felt so proud, stepping onto the plane alone for the first time, but as soon as she sat down in first class, whispers started. A white woman named Mrs. Collins, wealthy, entitled, and visibly irritated, kept staring at her. Imani tried to shrink into her seat, hiding behind her teddy bear. But Mrs. Collins leaned forward and muttered to the flight attendant, "This little girl doesn't belong here. She must have snuck up from economy." The attendant looked uncertain, but Mrs. Collins wasn't done. She dialed her phone, threatening to call airport police as the plane sat boarding. Imani's throat tightened. She was being judged not for her ticket, but for her skin. Imani tried to explain, her small voice trembling. "My dad bought this seat for me. He's meeting me when we land," but Mrs. Collins only scoffed. "Sweetheart, you don't have to lie. Children like you can't afford first class. Now let's handle this properly." Passengers began to murmur, some looking at Imani with suspicion, others with discomfort. The flight attendant, caught between duty and doubt, asked Imani to show her boarding pass. With shaky hands, Imani pulled it from her backpack. It clearly read first class, seat 3A. Still, Mrs. Collins wasn't satisfied. "Fake. Someone probably printed that for her. Call the cops before takeoff." Tears welled in Imani's eyes, but she held them back. Her father always told her, "Never let fear make you small. Stand tall, even when the world tries to shrink you." As two uniformed airport police officers entered the plane, the atmosphere grew heavy. Mrs. Collins smirked, confident she had exposed a fraud. But the officers didn't rush to Imani. They calmly asked for identification. When they saw the boarding pass, they nodded in agreement. "Ma'am, this ticket is valid," one officer said firmly. "She has every right to sit here." The cabin went silent. Mrs. Collins's smile faltered, but she still muttered, "There must be a mistake." The officer shook his head. "The only mistake is assuming she doesn't belong because of her color." At that exact moment, another passenger stood up, a tall man in uniform, decorated with military pins. Gasps rippled through the cabin. It was Imani's father, who had boarded quietly from a different gate. He walked down the aisle, his eyes locking onto his daughter's tear-streaked face. "Is there a problem with my child?" His voice was calm but carried undeniable authority. The officers immediately saluted. "Colonel Harris, sir." "Everything's fine. Your daughter's ticket checks out." Imani's father placed a protective hand on her shoulder, glaring at Mrs. Collins. "You judged a child without evidence, only prejudice. My daughter earned her place here just like anyone else." Mrs. Collins shrank back into her seat, cheeks red with shame. For once, she had nothing to say. The plane finally took off, but the atmosphere had shifted. Passengers who had remained silent now whispered apologies to Imani, some offering her snacks as well. In contrast, others gave warm smiles of support. The flight attendant leaned down and whispered, "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. You don't deserve this." Imani's father kissed her forehead and whispered, "You were brave." "I'm proud of you," she smiled, clutching his hand tightly. As for Mrs. Collins, she sat in bitter silence, humiliated by the very people she thought would agree with her. By the time the plane landed, Imani wasn't just a passenger anymore. She was a reminder that courage and truth can silence hate. And so, I ask you, if you saw prejudice unfolding in front of you, would you stay silent or speak up? How many voices will we ignore before we all finally listen? Tell us, where are you watching from? Take care.